On the 23rd of July, DCMS publishes much anticipated Future Telecommunications Infrastructure Review. I'm delighted to be joined by our Eleanor Locke. So Eleanor, what's the report all about?
So this is basically the government's plan for the future of digital connectivity in the UK, the rollout of 5G infrastructure but also fibre broadband. It recognises that currently the UK is only covered by 4% of fibre broadband, which is quite surprising when you look at other sort of leading world economies such as Japan and South Korea, which have got almost 100% fibre connectivity already. So what the report does is sets the government's ambition to have 15 million premises connected to fibre broadband by 2025, and then in the sort of longer term future to have the whole country covered by fibre broadband by 2033.
So then that's interesting. So what exactly is the government trying to achieve with its proposals?
So the government wants to become a leader in digital connectivity and have the infrastructure that's fit for the future, that boosts productivity and meets the increasing demands for data for businesses and also the consumer. For example, next generation's technologies such as the Internet of Things and AI, connected vehicles and all of the data that those technologies use need increased connectivity and capacity in order to operate effectively. And fibre broadband is so much more reliable and faster and has greater capacity than the existing broadband infrastructure in the UK.
So with the proposals, what are in your view, what are the three key findings or the key proposals being made by the government?
So I think the key three things are that the government is proposing to reduce barriers to deployment of the new infrastructure. It's also looking to promote access to existing infrastructure to make deployment quicker and easier. And thirdly, it's taking a pro-competitive approach to ensuring investment in infrastructure and proposing funding and regulation to support rollout in hard-to-reach areas which are less attractive to the commercial operator.
So the first point you picked up on were the barriers to new infrastructure. What are the barriers and how does the government propose to deal with them?
Yep, so there's a few things here. The first proposal that the government is making is trying to simplify the regime on wayleaves, particularly in relation to multi-dwelling buildings where it's difficult to establish who the owner of the property is in order to get the land rights to roll out the new fibre broadband. So that's the first thing, and it's looking to propose new regulation in the next session of Parliament. The second thing is trying to reduce the time and cost involved with street works. So what it's looking to do is to establish a new sort of operational code of conduct for local authorities around how they interpret the rules around street works to ensure consistency and reduce uncertainty for operators. And thirdly, it's looking to ensure that there's always a fibre connection to a new build property.
That's very interesting about the barriers and how they intend to address that. For a long time now, people have been talking about sharing infrastructure and making sure that the infrastructure that is there is used to its full capacity. What does the report have to say about sharing of infrastructure?
So the report and the government is very keen, obviously, to ensure that fibre is rolled out as quickly and easily as possible. And what the report recognises is that 70% of the cost of fibre rollout can be in the civil works. So it's looking to explore duct and pole access of other businesses to ensure the sort of streamlined, quicker and cheaper rollout of the fibre. It's also looking at, if that's not enough, Ofcom considering the potential for access to dark fibre. And it's also keen for Ofcom to work with other regulators around access to other infrastructure of utilities, not just duct and poles, but also pipes, for example, for water or sewage works that may be used as the infrastructure to roll out the fibre.
So the report covers a lot of areas which have been talked about over the years, and it's all very interesting stuff. But what does it see as the next steps?
So this is very much the government's sort of statement of policy for the future of telecoms infrastructure. The next step is that the report will be used to support the government's statement of strategic priorities for Ofcom, which is the regulator tasked with implementing the government's policy. The report also sort of clarifies that it will be reviewed by the government annually to make sure that it's being implemented in the way that's envisaged, and every 3 years there'll be a more detailed review of the report, and at that point in time, if the government identifies that additional measures are needed to achieve its overall ambition for fibre broadband rollout in the UK, then additional measures may be proposed at that stage.
So a very interesting, very promising report, but we need to watch this space.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you very much.
Thank you.